reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 297. I'm Chris, and as always, I am joined by the ever so magnanimous Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
Happy day.
Happy Monday to you, sir.
Yes, I didn't want to say the M word, but I guess if we're gonna drop the child-friendly rating of the podcast, then yes, happy Monday. As I have a case of the Mondays, I'm going to cut you off so you don't get to say it and you don't get to feel good about it. You're bad and you should feel bad.
Now, Bill, I'm wondering if you have the appropriate 15 amount of flair on your vest today as you are working on the show.
I didn't because I was too busy faxing in my TPS reports. Oh, but I forgot the cover page. Dang it.
Oh. If you could add that cover page from now on, that'd be great, Bill. And
okay.
Scene.
Well done. I'm sure.
That was a great off-the-cuff office recreation there, office space recreation.
You could say it's office the cuff.
Oh wow, that was pathetic. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Let's talk about something that's not pathetic, which is our guest, our first editor-level patron on our Patreon campaign. Hi, Brian. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, Chris and Bill. How you guys doing today?
Absolutely fantastic. Great to finally have our schedules align where we can have you on the show. And it's a great show to have you on with so much news. We're not recording live because we're under embargo. So, unfortunately, you don't get the full streaming experience of people yelling at you in the chat room. And for that, you're welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm wondering if I should have held off to episode 300.
Yeah.
But you know what? I had vacation this week, so I was completely free finally for an evening on Monday. That's
well, I'm
awesome.
glad that it worked out. I am glad that it worked out. We do have tons and tons of news to get to for this week, so why don't we jump right into what we have been doing this week in game? And since you are our guest, Brian, why don't you start? What have you been playing?
Well, the last couple of weeks I've been got back into playing Rust, so I've been getting savagely killed on that game all the time. But that's the purpose of the game. It's fun. Joined a clan with a bunch of my friends, so
fun.
We've been having a great time until we get raided, killed.
You've been trying to convince me to play that game. I'm hesitant as survival games are not my forte. They are not necessarily what I love to do. I struggled through Conan Exiles. I think Bill enjoyed it more than I did. But it's tough. But you've been mentioning this game for quite a while on our Discord channel. What is it about Rust that you really enjoy?
I've been actually playing it. I got it. God, I think maybe I'm guessing a year, maybe 2 years ago, around Christmas time through the Humble Monthly Bundle. So
right.
it's just because I can build stuff in the game. I really like to do that. I mean, played like Black Death online. Was it called Black Death, or I'm trying to remember the name?
I don't know.
It's one of the other survival ones out there. But like I said, I really like the. I don't really go much for the killing or anything. I like collecting all the resources so I can build some amazing structures and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a great time just to sit back and relax, I find, when you're not getting killed.
Oh, fun. Cool. Well, what else have you been playing?
Well, I played a little bit of Total War Warhammer, which, yeah, that's one of my go-to games where, you could just, when you start that up, you're going to be spending a couple hours in that game, no matter what you do for a campaign.
Yeah.
So it's it just takes so much time and just get in the zone playing that.
Yeah, I also jumped into that game. Actually, funny enough, this past week, you got it through the Humble Bundle too.
No, actually, I bought that one when it first came out, which I'll probably be buying Total War Warhammer 2 when that one.
Yeah.
I got to pre-order that one, so.
Yeah, I die a lot. That.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Cool. What else have you been playing?
Okay, EVE Online. That's like my go-to game to relieve stress. That's, yeah. You guys ever played EVE Online?
Bill, have you played EVE Online yet?
Oh, no. You know what? For years and years I've been saying that EVE Online is kind of near the top of my list, but it never quite makes it to the top. I think Elite Dangerous happened and basically just pushed my desire out to get into EVE. Elite Dangerous scratched my space itch, and so no, it's low on my list. I'm going to need a lot of spare time before I jump into EVE. Not because it's bad, but because there's just so many good games.
Well, yeah, EVE Online is a great game. It's just, just so much to learn in it. It's taking me years where I can go to appreciate the game. I mean, yeah, I don't really do much in the PvP in that game. I go through running the level 4 missions, going out there ratting, killing people, the NPCs, and then I go do a lot of mining, which, yeah, I just keep collecting all the stuff and just keep training my skills.
I'm showing, for those of you watching the video right now, I am showing my favorite graphic of the EVE Online learning curve. I know you guys can't see the chat room because we're not streaming tonight, but it's the one where it's basically a cliff going backwards. It shows the World of Warcraft is kind of straight line, LOTRO's a little bit harder, EVE is just like dead bodies hanging from the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, because you get potted. You can lose a ton of your skills and stuff.
Yeah, that's my favorite my favorite depiction of EVE Online is that particular graphic right there.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I mean, in the past I belonged to a few decent corps, and just the last few years I've been, I get on for a couple hours at a time, and like I said, it's just. I could just sit there, go out, mine, and it's just a great way for me to relax and then just enjoy the music from the game and just sit back and drink a beer.
Nice. Now, you also made a purchase recently, a gaming purchase recently, haven't you?
Yes, just because of this episode, I had to get back into it. I got it. Because of Chris, I got started playing Guild Wars 2 again.
Hooray!
So, yeah, I bought the Hearts of Thorns expansion, the Ultimate Edition. So it's like, yeah, I'm still waiting for them to give me my gems after 2 days.
Oh.
Yeah, it takes a while sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm really I've always liked Guild Wars 2. I mean, the whole combat system I've always liked, and just the whole living world scene on it.
Yeah.
It is still, and I still, we might talk about this a little bit later, but a lot of people complained about the value you get for when the Heart of Thorns expansion came out, and when you look at what's kind of come out for the story that came along with Heart of Thorns in the season 3 living story, it's actually turned into a pretty decent value expansion, I think.
As long as you logged in when each episode was live, so that you don't have to pay for it. If you have to pay for it, well.
I'm gonna have to pay for them now, unfortunately.
Yeah, let's put this in the context, though, right? Like, they're asking you to log in at least once every 3 months.
Right.
Help me out here. This is something that, I mean, it takes, I mean, even on patch day, it takes like 5 minutes to log in, to download the patch and log in, and then log back out again.
Yeah, and I was talking to Brian in the pre-show that it's a okay balance between needing to monetize to make money so that we can keep playing Guild Wars 2 and nickel and diming. I think it's a good balance of that.
Yeah, I think so. It's the most fair model, and I mean, pardon me being a little bit biased because I'm a Guild Wars 2 person, but it's the most fair model that I know of out there. There's not a single MMO out there that I think is more player friendly in terms of kind of letting players play as long as they want, casual, intense, and still getting good value in either case.
Yeah. Well, I think so too.
Well, I just remember when, the game came out, they were all about, buy the game once it unlocks it. You play it for everything, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess that's not the case per se, because you have to buy the maps or the story episodes. But really, you can go through all of the content, and you can do it with as many characters as you want, as long as you delete and remake characters, because you get limited character slots, and then you have to pay after them. But you can buy it once, pay forever, right, Bill?
Well, and help me out here. 8 character slots isn't enough for you?
Can't make every class and race combination that you want.
Well, I got like 6 or 7 character slots now, so.
Yeah.
I keep getting them for some reason.
All right, Bill, what about you? What have you been playing in the past week?
Well, for me, I've been continuing my World of Warcraft grind to keep not paying for my account. And actually, there's something that's turned into not a bad player-friendly business model from Blizzard of all places. Like that, I still think, I mean, it still heavily favors people who play a lot. Like, I think in order to actually get the value out of the whole WoW token system, you've got to play a fair amount, and it's almost getting to the point where I'm playing it a little bit more than I really want to, and I'm starting to burn out on it. But I bought the expansion last September, I guess it was, and I'm still playing on that cost for the expansion. Everything has been WoW tokens since then. So
that's awesome.
So it's been it's good, and I'm actually it. I mean, we've talked about this on the show a million times before, but the Legion expansion totally rekindled my World of Warcraft interest. That's easily still the best expansion that they've done. I'm actually playing alts a little bit now, so in addition to kind of my daily pattern for making money on my main, I've actually been running a hunter alt up and doing old dungeons and stuff like that, and that's been a lot of fun as well. So that's been that I've had that going for me. I did hop into Guild Wars 2 to just kind of get my stuff in order, get ready for the next season. I didn't play a ton, but I did do just, I don't know. It's like housekeeping for guests. I'm waiting for the final the final story chapter to land and visit me for a while. It's gonna be fun. And then last week we streamed The Secret World on our Wednesday night stream, and that was a surprisingly smooth experience. So they didn't change the game as much as I thought when they went from Secret World to Secret World Legends. The combat system is much smoother. It's a lot easier to kind of get into the like the character development system. The story presents itself in a little bit more logical way. I'm tired of that starting zone in Secret World, because this has got to be the 4th time or the 5th time that I've gone through it. So that's part of the reason why we need to keep streaming The Secret World, just so we can get out of that zone.
So here's a question. I know they went over to Legends. I started it up myself. I just kept seeing the original name, The Secret World.
They are 2 separate games. You actually have to create a new account, link that to your old Secret World account, and And the Secret World will continue. Secret World Legends is a new shared world cooperative RPG, which it just happens to be all the content from the Secret World, just rejiggered so that you could theoretically go through most of the all of the story content solo, and then there's also group content as well on top of that.
So are they still going to be updating the Secret World, or are they just going to update the Secret World Legends?
Probably, I would say patching. I don't know content-wise. Patching, I would say that they will.
Yeah, because it was maybe about in the last maybe 6 months or a year I bought the lifetime membership.
You might want to look to see if that gets you any bonuses in the Secret World. I don't remember off the top of my head, or Secret World Legends. That might get you some bonuses over there as well. The patron status might carry over if you link the accounts. So look into that.
So, yeah, so
I know there were bonuses for linking. So.
Okay, so I gotta link the accounts. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an interesting night. You played what? An assassin, I think, right, Bill?
Yeah, or I can't remember the actual template name, but
and magic.
Yeah,
that's assassin. Yeah,
fire magic, sword swinging, and which is just fun. Like fireballs and swords. Like this is what more do you need in this world?
Pistols and shotguns, which is what I did, which is a lot of fun too. I enjoyed that as well. It was a fun night. It was a fun time chatting with the people in the chat room, and a good experience overall in the Secret World. I don't know. We'll have to see whether I think it's something that I'll want to keep going. I did think a few times. I did have some interest in going back in, but I waited, Bill. I didn't jump in there without you. I didn't want to get ahead of you. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But I did have that. I did have that interest, which is good, right? Unlike Conan, which was no, I'm good, thanks.
I considered that as well. Actually, I thought about logging in last night, but held off.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, it was definitely enjoyable. So that kept you busy all week. As for me, I also did Secret World. I did WoW. I'm working on seeing if, because I don't enjoy playing the auction house game. And we talked about this last show, and you talked about how you're trying to snipe auctions using the add-ons and stuff like that, and that's the one way that you're trying to make money. I like to run content. That's what I like to do. So I set myself up so that I make money two different ways. First of all, I make money from I took up alchemy. So I'm making the potions from all my Blood of Sargeras, which I get for running content. And one blood will get me 325 gold, which is not bad. And then I am using my enchanting and disenchanting all my purple gear for chaos crystals, and which I get the gear from running dungeons and raids and all that stuff. And I get 300 plus gold per chaos crystal. So I'm making a decent amount of money. I think I made 30,000 one weekend, 30,000 gold of really playing every day and really pushing through content. But it's content heavy. Like I have to really make it money making-ish. I have to run through all the LFRs, all the looking for raids, the daily dungeons, and then go through mythics and just really push because I need to keep being fed Blood of Sargeras and purple gear to disenchant. And I don't know if I love it. I love running content, but now it's so just, it's quantity of content, not quality.
And I think you're discounting how simple it is to actually do the auction house and everything like that. Like I don't spend 15 minutes a day auctioning stuff. It's just a matter of doing it. Like instead of just selling everything for the cheapest price that's there and carrying on, you use the historical stuff that TSM feeds you and sell it at a slightly higher price when the market is good. Yeah. And I mean, it's a little more patience that you need, but in the end, you're selling the same stuff. You're just making more money.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to play with it to give it a try, and maybe I'll make a video out of it and share it with everyone and stuff like that.
it's worth doing and trying. Like I said, you once you see it work once, like even if you just keep it dirt simple and you only do the most basic mats that you'd ever sell, like exactly the stuff you talked about, the stuff you'd get from your bloods, and the stuff that you'd get from running your raids. Even if you only configure for that, you're still going to come out at least a little bit ahead by auctioning. It's just auctioning smarter instead of just selling everything as cheap as you can. Yep.
We'll talk after the show. We'll get me set up and I'll give it a try. I have been in LOTRO as well. We're going to talk later on in the show about the Mordor pricing. But with the Mordor expansion coming up, we'll talk about it later. With the Mordor expansion coming up and wanting to work on a new LOTRO Reporter episode to talk about that, I jumped back into LOTRO again and continuing on my visiting around the outskirts of Mordor and going around. There's a lot of running around, but it's just so much fun. I feel the danger and the death and destruction that's coming from the gates of Mordor. So I'm excited for that. And the last one I want to talk about, I already talked about Guild Wars 2. I already talked about Total War Warhammer. I do want to talk a little bit about Gigantic, and I'm not going to give a full review or anything like that, but I did want to talk a little bit about the game because I jumped in and played a bunch of it since it launched. It's now officially launched. It's not Head Start. It's not beta. It's not open beta. It's not alpha. It's not nothing. It is now launched, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit. But I want to talk about my experiences in it right now before we talk about the news, the launch, the price, all that. I had fun. I laughed because the first couple of times when I tried to make a match, I actually quit the first time I tried because I got 3 matches in a row that didn't end up launching because of the matchmaking issues, which was the same issue we had when we made our video a while back about Gigantic and our thoughts on Gigantic, where we just couldn't get into the game. It was horribly buggy, etc. But I launched in, and it was chaotic. And it was violent, and it was fast, and it was tweaked, and it was fun. It was just, excuse me, so much fun. They've tweaked some of the mechanics. Like, I didn't find I ever ran out of sprint, which with the size of the maps is a really, really good thing. And Brian and I were talking about it beforehand, and he was talking about it seeing some resemblance to Overwatch.
Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting. I'm watching another video of it kind of right now. And I don't know, just the gameplay seems that kind of style.
Yeah, and having played both, they're not at all. They may look the same, but they're so different to me. They're a similar style in a class-based sort of like a bigger version of MOBA maps sort of thing, right, with lanes and stuff like that. But this feels more like an MMO, whereas Overwatch has shooter blood in it, right? I don't feel MMO-ish at all. This feels like a battleground in an MMO, and it's interesting because that's sort of where the history of the game starts from, where it was originally begun as this idea of 2 teams compete, starting at one end of and the other of a PvE dungeon, and then they fight to get to the big boss in the middle, and then fight the big boss and each other. And that was sort of the way the game was built to begin with, before they switched to this PvP only model, which I really enjoy. I want to play more Gigantic. I wish I was playing Gigantic right now. It's just tons and tons of fun. So
am I seeing it right on their website? It's on Xbox One?
Xbox One and PC as well, and it's crossplay as well. So, which is kind of fun.
That's going to be interesting. I might have to actually give it a try on my Xbox One, because that seems like the game I want to play. I mean, I want to play with a controller.
Yeah, I've played both. I played today with a keyboard and mouse, and I wanted my controller. So, yeah. So that is all that we have done in games this week. If you like what we're doing, if you want to keep the lights on here at the MMO Reporter Network, then please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Our patrons are our favorite people. Thanks, Brian, for being a patron and supporting the show. We really, really enjoy the fact that so many of you want to keep hearing and seeing what we do here and support us through our Patreon campaign. So go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter, and you too can become a patron.
From me, more than these is all you have to do to make the rain. Then you wouldn't have to say that you...
All right, Bill, Brian, we have got some big news coming from Guild Wars 2. The whole reason we're not live streaming tonight is because all this information is under embargo, because Episode 6 is coming out for Guild Wars 2, Living World Season 3, Episode 6. The final episode in this season is going to go live, and I got a chance to go and check it out last Friday, I believe it was. And so it was a bit of a different press playthrough, because instead of having different times that I could go and sign up for, everybody was at the same time. And instead of sort of giving us a little taste of all the different parts, some of the events, some of the story, some of the fractal, because there's a new fractal coming out here, they only showed us the map and the events because they didn't want us to look at the story. Not only that, they also changed the passwords on our press accounts as soon as we logged off. Usually we get the weekend to go back in and play the map more so we can talk about it and make videos and write stories and stuff like that. But no, this 1 hour demo was all that we got. So very exciting, showing the trailer right now for this episode. Lots of exciting stuff, so we're going to dig right in and start talking about, first of all, the events that are going to be on this new map. Actually, why don't we jump a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about the map itself. The map is going to have some different areas that it's going to have that are different flavors of the gods. So this area will be this god, this area will be this god, and there's actually these statues that are there of the different gods. And as you adventure around, you'll be able to sort of get the idea of the flavor of the gods from that specific area. So that map is going to be pretty cool. The currency for this particular map is going to be Orion Pearls. This is in ore, by the way, in case you were wondering. Not any of the maps that we've already been on, but like the other episodes, a new map, not a repurposed ones. So to get the Orion Pearls, you're going to... Orion, thank you. You are going to... one of the resource nodes that are the new resource nodes, clams and oysters, gathering resource nodes. They'll give you a chance for a pearl, and as usual, you can use them as currency or consume them for unbound magic. So that's the map. The map itself sounds pretty cool. I know, Bill, you were really excited about the idea of going back to ore, weren't you?
Well, yeah, and this is something that I think a lot of people have kind of experienced, that ore is... I mean, when the game released, it was 100% appropriate. That was the storyline of the time, the undead taking over or having taken over ore, and we were kind of invading that area to attack the Dragon of Death, and that fit in the story. The story has advanced a long way since then, but there's still zombies all over the place there. So from what I understand, that's not changing. Like, we're not going to come back and suddenly ore is this undead free zone or anything like that, and I don't hate that. But what I really like about it, actually, is that it is advancing it. It's kind of an acknowledgement, like, yes, time has gone by, things have changed, it hasn't fixed everything, it's not perfect, but at least it's changed. So you kind of get back to the quote-unquote living part of the living story here, where the world is changing. So instead of just tacking on brand new maps everywhere to give you that new map experience, they're actually going back, rejiggering an old map. It'll be curious to see how they kind of layer that so that people who are still playing through the original campaign experience the old ore, and people playing through the current campaign are experiencing quote-unquote new ore. Mm-hmm. So, but the thing you were mentioning too, with all the temples to the different gods, that's already there in I believe I can't remember if it's the Straits of Devastation or Malkor's Leap. I think it's Malkor's Leap, actually. But those temples are already there, so if they're actually becoming more prominent as the story is advancing the story of the human gods more than it is the dragons, that's really exciting too, because again, that's tying loose ends that when a game franchise has been running for 15 years now or something like that, it's important to start tying off those loose ends and give people a little bit of satisfaction to say, okay, yes, something's happened. It's that little OCD sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm. So let's go through some of the different events that they showed us while we were there. Now, one of the things that they talked about as we started out was the fact that the Sylvari have come to this area because they have a connection with the Risen in this area, as they have both lost their dragons. So the first event actually has you helping the Sylvari gather up a whole bunch of Risen into an area, and the Sylvari are going to try to help them and make them better, make them nicer. And unfortunately, things go wrong. We got into this event part of the way through. Eventually, some Risen will come up, a big champion will come, release all the Risen, and then you'll have to go around and clean up all the Risen from the Sylvari village. So we got part of the way through, and we got to take a look at that. But again, that connection between the Sylvari and the Risen, I think, Bill, you were really excited about that, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a neat thread to tie together, to take the Sylvari, who are these generally optimistic, childlike life creatures, being tied together quite logically with these creatures of death, and with the way the events of the story have progressed, it's tying them together. That's such a neat dichotomy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you want to talk about your theory about the Risen and the Sylvari that we talked about in the pre-show?
I completely
what happens
forgot that
at the
theory.
End? What happens at the end
of course.
Heart of
Yes,
Thorns?
thank you. I can't believe I gapped on that.
I
Okay,
know.
so here's a little theory that I haven't seen anybody else come up with, and this is the wild, baseless speculation portion of MMO Reporter this week. So Heart of Thorns ends with a Sylvari. Sorry, you know what? I'm not even going to say spoiler alert, because, come on, people, 2 years. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't played Guild... Sorry. I asked you permission before we started, Brian.
I'm just giving you a hard time about it, Bill.
So your opinion is the one that I'm actually worried about. So anyway, at the end, Traherne sadly bites it. Aw, shucks. Traherne is a Sylvari. We've now progressed through all of Season 3, and the Sylvari are trying to buddy up with the creatures of death in Ore, and they've got this common relationship. How likely is it that we're going to see some kind of Risen Traherne come as a result of this union between the undead and the Sylvari, if it does actually shake out like that? Wouldn't that be a cool little tie-in? I think it would.
Oh, that would be awesome, actually.
See, there's a lot of people that didn't like Traherne from the original story, and they thought he was maybe a little bit of a whiny, maybe a little bit of a weak primary character and that kind of thing. Weak in the sense that he was a little bit wishy-washy. He wasn't quite as powerful as you'd see in a RPG or your typical champion of the world kind of thing. He was a lot more kind of subtle. Some people called it whiny, but I don't know. I think that would be a really interesting, either bringing him back and villainizing him by bringing him back as an undead, or just kind of tying his story off by bringing him back by virtue of this relationship between the undead and the Sylvari. I don't know. It was just a thought that popped into my head that I thought would be cool.
Thinking of the right guy. That's the Marshall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Marshall Traherne. He's the leader of the Pact, which is the alliance of all the different guilds in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, I finally started the core for my storyline since I hit 72. So yeah,
it'll be good.
Still trying to catch up.
Progressing through that is actually quite fun. I still like doing those story progressions from time to time. So I think you'll like that.
Okay, so that's one event. Another event that we got to take a look at was this giant that was roaming around.
God, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's a huge dragon. Dragon giant. Sorry, not a huge dragon. I'm thinking back to the end of one of the episodes. But so this dragon, I said it again. This giant is walking around, and we attacked him, Our whole group of players went and tried to take him down, and we got about maybe a fifth of the way down, and then he kept on self-healing. So you actually need to get, I believe it's an oak heart seed to use to debuff this giant, or you are never going to be able to get him down. We had probably 15 of us attacking, and we were not able to take him down. Yeah. So we never got the seed. We never did that, but he was a good punching bag for a while.
I was hoping they said it was another character that came out that dropped the oak heart seed.
Yeah,
right?
You have to find it. Yeah. So
when we didn't see that other NPC come out, so you needed to get them together, and he would start beating up on, I think, the other guy. Then that guy would drop the oak heart seeds.
Yeah,
I wish I saw that, but it didn't happen.
No, we didn't get that. And the last thing that they or one of the last things, the next thing, I was talking about Kingpin Undead. And so these Kingpin Undeads are undead risen who have kept their intelligence. And not only that, but they have a power to return intelligence to some of the risen who has come up. Now, one of the characteristics about risen is that they are dumb zombies. They hit you with whatever they've got in their hand, or maybe even just their own unattached arm. And they'll smack you around for a while, and that'll be it. But if they are around one of these Kingpin Undead, they will get the full suite of their class abilities to use against you and to try to kill you. So I thought that was an interesting new addition to what we'll be facing in Guild Wars 2. A different flavor. And there are champion Kingpin Undead. So, that could get very ugly very, very fast. Now, the one part I want to get to is probably my favorite part, and I call it the super flying area. And this is an area...
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. This is an area that is absolutely littered with updrafts. Not only that, the water is warm and creates its own updraft without boiling you alive, like you'll find in the last episode. And so you float around and you have to get these artifacts. And once you've gotten these artifacts in this area for this event, then you'll spawn a drake. But before we get to that part, it was just so much fun flying around in all these different updrafts. And even if you don't have your flying all the way to the top tier of the mastery, you're gliding, not flying, you are going to have a blast because there's enough updrafts that you really don't have to worry about that. Not only that, you get a few different skills. A quick left shuffle, a quick right shuffle, and a dash forward so that you can fly around because there are gusts of wind that will knock you around as well. So
Chris, what about the poison?
I was getting to that. You're using these artifacts. Once you have these artifacts, you can clear the poison clouds that are also around this area. And so it's a fun event. I have a feeling it's going to be my favorite. Would you like to fly around like crazy, Brian, and just go everywhere once you can get your glider?
Yeah, that's the best part I like. That just saying that the artifacts even stay there after the event because they allow you to, like you said, to debuff to stop the poison clouds, and on top of that, once you get to that drake, you need the artifacts to even be able to get him down on the ground so you can kill him.
So that drake is a cool fight because you have to get to him first. You kind of start. We all started from sort of far away. And he has gusts of wind that he kind of knocks you around the air, but he also has these rings of poison. And the cool thing, they kind of go back and forth across this area, but the cool thing is, if you are in the middle of those rings, you don't get hurt. You only get hurt if you're touched by the rings around it. So you go around, you gather artifacts, and you throw. It'll give you a special power. You throw that down, kind of like I think it's the first episode in Bloodstone Fen, where when you were flying, you got powers to attack while you were flying, and then you fight them on the ground once you've stunned them for a while. Bill, does that sound exciting to you? Because it sounds exciting to me.
It'd be interesting. I'm looking forward to trying it for sure.
Yeah, it's too bad we're not streaming today because you guys can't see the video here. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That super flying area, I'm gonna call it the super flying area forever. Yeah.
And
cool.
Chris didn't even die.
I didn't. I didn't, and I tried really hard.
Oh, Chris is pretty elite.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay, so the next thing, the meta event. So there are shrines around the different areas of this map, and ghostly kings and queens of Ore have been tasked with keeping Guild Wars 1 style res shrines to the gods going, but they don't have the usual magic power system that they do. So during these events around the shrines, you will need to kill things near them. They will have a chance to spawn fragments of magical energy, which you then bring back to the shrine. And once you bring back enough and you've powered it up, then a champion creature will come and you'll have to beat that. So there you go. And you'll use the shrines to res and gain buffs when you have unlocked them. So how it works is you finish the meta and you purchase the unlock of the shrines from the vendor. Mm-hmm. And then you can use those. I didn't see any waypoints around here. I know that you use the shrines as res points because I used that a whole bunch at the end. But I don't know if you use them as waypoints as well.
Well, they were talking about that you'd have to go to a character and actually unlock stuff. So I'm thinking the res points are the shrines.
But I think they're travel points. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's going to be a fun. I know you love metas, Bill. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, before we get to the questions that we asked the devs, the mastery for this map is going to be called Siren of Ore. And basically, the Sirens of Ore used to sing to the gods. And when you train this mastery, when you unlock it, you're going to be able to interact with these things, which will give you a which will have a chance of spawning during combat. And you interact with it, then you get a dirge, which is a little clickable on your screen. You click that, and you will get, they called it a god buff for yourself and players around you. And those of you watching the video, there's a little half ring around the head of the players, and it shows which dirges are activated. So you can get them all activated and be super duper powerful, which I think would be tons of fun because I like face rolling through stuff. It's fun, and you can't do that in Guild Wars 2 usually. Yeah, so that's pretty much all of the content stuff. Bill, Brian, did you have any questions about it from the demo?
Well, like I said, I love the demo, like the whole flying area. That's awesome because I haven't even got to experience the gliders yet. I still think they need mounts, though, in the game. I'm getting tired of running everywhere.
I believe the word that was used was never say never, but never.
Yeah.
Is that pretty accurate, Bill?
Sure. Yep.
Oh, I know. It's been like that with them since the beginning. Hey, but you know what? They said they weren't ever going to do expansion, and look what happened.
That's true. Very true. Okay, so we did send we have a tease that we'll put at the end of this segment, but we did send some questions to the devs, and we were interested in how they had approached the design of this particular episode because it was the last one. So we sent them a few questions, and all of these were answered by. Sorry, I'm just looking up exactly their names. It was Kevin Millard and Lindsay Murdoch. They're both on the Living World team. And so the questions that we asked were, did you approach this episode differently than others as it's the last one before the expansion? And their answer was, because this was the episode that was passing the story over to the expansion, there was a lot of attention paid to making sure that we leave the story at the end of episode 6 lined up well with the start of the expansion, while making sure that it felt like Living World Season 3 was getting a satisfying conclusion of its own. And that's one of the things. I think the story and the writing on the story has always been absolutely fantastic for Guild Wars 2.
That must have been hard for them to do that, to make sure they all both aligned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious about what the expansion reveal then is going to be, because if the final story of episode 6 is setting the table for the expansion, like, are we going to hear about the expansion at the end of season? Like, does the end of episode 6 kind of lead into the expansion, or do we have to wait for a couple months to kind of get that really reveal?
I think we're going to get a reveal when this episode launches, or a day or two after.
That could have been what they were talking about on the 26th.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
All right, next question. Did you approach the mechanics with the idea that this would have to keep players occupied until the expansion? And this is one we talked about, Bill. We're hoping to stay close to the cadence we've set for episodes when it comes to the timing of the expansion. Let me repeat that. We're hoping to stay close to the cadence we've set for episodes when it comes to the timing of the expansion. So we are looking at somewhere around 2 to 3 months for the expansion launch from now, which is absolutely ridiculous for them to announce and launch within 3 months like that. That's, to me, that's crazy.
That said, it's not like it's been a secret that they've been working on the expansion for a long time. Like, when they did their reorg, what was it, a year and a half ago, they kind of said, okay, we have Living World teams. We have 3 different Living World teams so that everybody has kind of a 6 to 9 month cadence to get their Living World stories out. And we have a completely separate team working on the next expansion. So there has been a team working on the expansion it's going to be 2 years by the time that it actually comes out. So it's not that crazy. It's excellent planning and management, though, I'm going to say, to be able to coordinate those teams and get it worked out on that with that level of timing.
But it wasn't as... Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, look at the time they're planning. If that's true, they're going to plan for it to hit right in the holiday season, when they're going to have a ton of more people on, because everybody's going to be on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wasn't necessarily talking about the expansion coming out. I was talking about it's a short amount of time for a AAA title to announce and then launch its expansion within 3 months. I would say industry norm is closer, probably, I would think, to 6 months. And it just seems like it's a really short amount of time to be like, hey, we're going to have the expansion in like 2.5 months, 3 months. So, hey, have fun.
It's a little bit short, but it also makes sense too with the way that they're actually running the story. They've been really trying to keep the story reveals under wraps. Like the progression of the Living World story is kind of an important release for them. They're not throwing this out there well in advance and spoiling things well in advance or anything like that. Like, Patch Day is meant to be a pretty big reveal. So again, it kind of makes sense to me. Like, it's impressive, and I think if they actually get the quality of the expansion nailed alongside what they've been like, if they're able to get the quality of the expansion to match the quality of the Living World updates, then they've accomplished something really impressive and deserve a heavy duty pat on the back.
Yeah. Okay, and last but not least, as you talked about their long view here, how far into the future do you have a story outline? We do plan pretty far ahead. For example, back when we were first getting started on Season 3, we knew where we wanted the second expansion story to go, and therefore what some of the major points the season needed to hit were, while still having a lot of flexibility to change and evolve the storyline in development.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So it is interesting, and what it makes me think about is the fact that the expansion's coming out. They've probably already got the living season story storyboarded or planned out post-expansion. So, it's very curious to me that they've got 2 years kind of in the bank, at least in terms of narrative.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating that there's somebody out there that's got all that knowledge locked away in their brain, and who knows how many beers it would take to unlock it, but it would be just fun to find out.
Let's see after the expansion happens, because you know how players get. Things could change.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about with Guild Wars 2, there was a little tease on the Guild Wars 2 Twitter. The text for it was, "Reclaim your own piece of ore to take into battle." And it was someone walking with a very big hammer. I'm going to, as pretty much everyone else is saying as well, I'm going to say the new legendary. Two-handed hammer. Booyah. You think? Maybe?
Maybe
not? No? All right. Well, I think that's our talk about Guild Wars 2 Living World Season 3. Reminder, as we were talking about earlier, if you own Heart of Thorns, you need to log in while this expansion or while this episode is live so that you have it added to your story journal. You don't have to play it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to log in. So if you own Heart of Thorns, even if it's not installed, install it, load it up, and then you can make sure that you can play this episode at your leisure whenever you'd like.
I know. I'm gonna have to remember that from now on.
Yes.
I just bought the expansion though, so
there we go. All right, let's get to a quick mention from our sponsors, Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to get an audiobook from the world's best audiobook provider and to help us keep the lights on here at MMO Reporter. You've got a commute, you need to get an Audible audio book. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to get a free month, which will get you a free book. So go check it out. And of course, our friends over at Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com, use the coupon code MMO Reporter, and they're going to add a solid state drive to your purchase. That's right. You buy a computer, you get an extra solid state drive with your purchase. So go check out doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMO Reporter to get out of mana. Pull that world boss out of party, run through trash, you'll be sorry. Take a bio break without announcing. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. So many dumb. All right, so as I mentioned off the top of the show, I was very impressed with my experiences in Gigantic since its launch last week. I've had a lot of fun playing this game, and if you want to go check it out, you can go check out gogigantic.com, and you can take a look at playing the game. It is free to play, so you can go and check it out, and you can earn in-game currency through playing the game, so you can buy some of the skins and heroes and stuff like that. The one thing I want to talk about was the 2 packs that you can look at to purchase, which I think are absolutely, probably horribly affordable. They are probably some of the best priced packs that I've seen in a game with some decent content. So they've got the $9.99 starter pack. If you are interested in that, it gets you 8 heroes, a skin for one of the heroes, and 100 rubies. 100 rubies, to be blunt, might get you a boost. It's not going to get you you're not going to get a skin or a hero or anything like that for 100 rubies, just so you know. Skins
how much do heroes cost?
Heroes. Oh, I've only been looking at skins because I've already got all the heroes. I think the skins. So a hero's going to be more than that. Costs in-game gold and like 500 rubies, 495 rubies. So there's that. And the $29.99 Ultimate Pack gets you all heroes for the life of the game. So if they come out with any heroes in the future, they are going to be added to your roster without you having to pay anything. 2 skins, 10 win boosts, so you get boosts when you win, 10 fortune draw cards. So basically fortune draws are, think of it as daily quests. Think of it as quests for you to play. do this much damage, win this many matches as this hero, do this, right? So the way it works is you get a fortune draw, 1 per day, and you can pick one of the 3 cards it gives you, and then you can add that as a quest. These 10 fortune draw cards, it gives you more that you can draw on, so you can have more quests going at the same time.
So what's the win boost actually do?
The win boost, it just gives you boosts, I believe, to prestige and to your experience and stuff like that.
So do you have to use that one before you go in the game? So if you don't win, you lose it?
So you put your boosts on. Like, same thing with, you get boosts in Overwatch or other games like that, League of Legends.
Yeah, does it last till you win a game, or does it last, or
I'm
you
not
lose
quite
it
sure.
once you lose?
I'm not quite sure. Let me take a look. See if we can figure out as we talk here. You can also... I can't look. You can't buy any of that stuff out of the game. It's all in the game. Sorry.
It's okay.
You get 200 rubies as well, which will get halfway to a skin, and 1 friend code for a starter pack that you can give to someone if they want to play with you. So you get all your heroes, but you also get to help out a friend as well. I think that these are absolutely fantastically well priced. Like, I really have a hard time finding any fault with these packs here. Bill, I know that you are more, how can I put it politely? You are more hesitant at paying for things for games than I am. What do you think of these prices?
Well, let's back up a tick here. I'm quite happy to pay for things for games. It's that I don't feel like paying for games that I don't like. And I have to admit, the first impression that Gigantic left for me when I tried it was not good. So yeah. I'm starting off from a place of dissatisfaction anyway. That said, this is downright reasonable for a new game. Like $30 to basically get the top end of everything is very nice, and the fact that you can go free to play as well, or you could drop $10 if you wanted to kind of kit yourself out a little bit better. Maybe you've only got a couple of favorite heroes and all you need is the 8 hero pack or anything like that. Like, this is just reasonable. I feel like this is what games should cost. Like, this is not like especially for a game like this that is kind of tournament style. There's a few fixed maps. There's not really a narrative or a story or heavy duty voice actors or 100 hours of gameplay or anything like that, or of non-repetitive gameplay, I should say. It is what it is. It's a simple kind of MOBA shooter type of game. This fits. You know what? If you're into Gigantic, this is a fair price. Good deal.
Mm-hmm. Brian, what do you think?
Well, I am actually going to have to try the game out to see if I even like it. But, I'm kind of getting a little tired with games nitpicking you to death. But the prices seem kind of reasonable. But like I said, I won't really know until I try the game.
Mm-hmm. For me, when it comes to games like this that have different heroes, Overwatch is very similar like that. It's the heroes that matter for me, and then being able to earn skins in game. That's what I want to be able to do, right? Either through chests that are chance, or whether getting enough currency that I can buy it. I want to be able to earn some different skins, and it kind of hits those.
Can you earn the heroes playing the game, or
I'll have to look into that.
Purchased?
I'm not quite sure. I believe that you can, because they cost rubies. As well as gold, but I'll get back to you and either put it on Twitter or in the show notes or something like that. So I'm not quite sure. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention about this is actually a really cool story and a great piece of journalism over on PC Gamer, and this was written by Steve Messner, and he talks about the story of the studio of Motiga, who last year, at one point in February, laid off all 75 employees. I don't know if you remember that. Bill, we talked about it on the show. and they
Yep.
laid everybody off. But what happened is that people kept on coming in to work, and they were passionate about the game. They kept on working on it, and in the end, I don't want to give away the whole story, but things worked out really well for them. I do think this is worth a read, so take a look at our show notes, folks, and you can take a look at the story yourself. But very interesting, the support that they got from Perfect World, which turned out to be their publisher, right, in the end, in a really positive way. And it was a really interesting read as well. It's not often in the gaming industry that you find these feel-good stories, so it was really cool to see. What did you think about it, Brian?
Well, I just looked at the article. It's actually pretty interesting. I still got a love-hate relationship with Perfect World, though, so...
Yeah, but there's a little bit more weight on that positive side of the scales here with reading this story, for me at least. I I I got a bunch of respect for that studio for what they did here and the way that they went about it. So I thought that was really interesting. What about you, Bill?
It is. I mean, it's a nice comeback story, and it's a little bit heartwarming to actually see people that kind of believe in their project enough to help it get past some obvious difficult times. It makes me think twice about. You remember at PAX, or the last time we went to PAX, when Motiga was just, they were everywhere, and they were having parties, and they were doing. I mean, I almost wonder if those days are starting to come to an end, like the big gaming show, marketing events, like that kind of mega marketing, or that kind of in person marketing. If that's going to just start going away, because it feels like there's been a lot of examples of failures that kind of worked in that, and they get that kind of marketed like that, and then promptly fell flat on their face. It feels like there's more versions of that than there are big success stories that had a fantastic hype machine at a gaming show like PAX or E3 or whatever, or Gamescom. Like you get where I'm going here?
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. I think it's worked out positively for some games. I think if you look at just the marketing side of things, the strategy that WildStar went with the big party and the big everything, that worked out really well for them at launch. It was huge at launch, right? Unfortunately, the quality of the game did not match the quality of the marketing.
Firefall.
Firefall. See, that one breaks my heart. That one really, really breaks my heart. I love those guys over at Red 5.
Yeah.
ESO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ESO.
I had high hopes when it came out. It's getting better slowly, though.
Oh, One Tamriel changed everything. I think it is in a resurgence. It really is. I think it's one of the premier MMOs out there right now with One Tamriel. I love Morrowind.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm still getting used to not having the Holy Trinity for the classes, so where everybody can be a healer. That's still taking me getting used to.
Yeah.
I mean, I have more the WoW factor on the Xbox One playing ESO. I can't say that's PC played anymore.
Yeah.
I told you about that when it first came out, I think. The WoW factor was missing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think I think Harry also played it. He was unimpressed with it. We were both panned it quite strongly when it came out, but I've definitely turned around since One Tamriel. Okay, so we'll have a link to that PC Gamer story in the show notes that you can check out. We've got a few quick... Oh, no, wait. Before we go to that, we're going to do a quick mention. I am going to send everybody over to LOTRO Reporter, which should be out in the next few days by the time this goes live. We're going to talk a little bit about Lord of the Rings Online and the pricing for the Mordor bundle. I'm going to save most of my arguments for LOTRO Reporter. I've already recorded that, and I've sort of laid out my thoughts on that. There are 3 different tiers that you can get. The standard edition, $39.99, which gets you all of the content for Mordor, as well as a level boost for a character, so that you can bring up an alt. There's the collector's edition, which is $79.99, which gives you all the content, the level boost, a high elf character slot, cosmetic kit, a title, Walked into Mordor, nice, and an alliance mount. And then there is the Ultimate Fan Bundle. Notice they didn't call it the Legendary Bundle again. They called it the Ultimate Fan Bundle. You get all the content. You get the level boost. You get the high elf. You get the character slot. You get the cosmetics. You get the Mordor cosmetics. You get an alliance mount, a Mordor mount. And alliances, by the way, are a new endgame system that's in Mordor. You get 2 titles, Walked into Mordor and the Ultimate. Equipable XP accelerators for all characters, which used to come in all the bundles, by the way. Exclusive housing teleport for all characters, 3 relics for all characters, 2 essence reclamation scrolls for all characters, 10 extra shared storage slots, and a code for a month of VIP access. Bill, what would you pay for that? $39.99 is the basic. $80 is the sort of middle tier. What would you pay for this? What do you think? All that, because that's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of digital stuff.
Would it be specious for me to say that I'd pay maybe $50 for it?
No. Brian, what do you think would be an appropriate price for you for all that sort of stuff?
Well, just with everything they're offering, because reasonable for me would be about $99. So.
Yeah. Well, the cost is $129.99 US, which is going to work out to a ton more for us Canadian buyers.
Oh, and Chris, the question everybody's asking, how many points, turbine points, do you get with these?
I don't recall mentioning turbine points. Not turbine points. I don't know what they call the Standing Stone game points, whatever they are. LOTRO points. I don't recall mentioning that for any of the bundles. Let me look. Oh, yeah, no points for any of the bundles.
Well, to be fair, the Ultimate Fan Bundle does give you a month of VIP. So how many points do you... Yeah, so 500 points. This is embarrassing. Like, I'm sorry. That it's okay, and you know what? Maybe $50 is a bit of a low guess, but I'm gobstopped at how, like, they must have had a meeting somewhere along the line, and somebody said, "Hey, this is a good idea for a price for this," and nobody disagreed with that person.
So wait, it's Standing Stone, not Turbine anymore?
Yeah,
correct.
Standing Stone Games.
When did that happen?
Oh, a few months ago, they spun off into their own indie game studio.
It's still published by
Turbine
Warner Brothers, right?
No,
nope,
it is not. It's published by. No, it's Daybreak. It's their publisher. Daybreak.
Oh,
Games.
okay. Yeah. H1Z1.
Turbine is a mobile game company now.
Oh.
Yeah. So this may be Daybreak Games as the publisher gets to set the price for the expansion.
I don't care who set the price. That's. Like I said, I can't believe that somebody would be able to say that with a straight face. That's unfortunate. I mean, let's imagine a brand new game coming out at these price tiers.
Okay, so I will say this, and again, I'm being quiet because I've got I don't want to repeat all my arguments that I made on LOTRO Reporter. First of all, they're teasing me because they're showing a physical copy of a box of the game in each of these bundles, and there is no physical edition of the game. None. I would say that $130 would be a great price for a physical collector's edition of the game.
Yeah,
with some sort of physical items in there, as well as all this digital stuff.
I could get on board with that, yes.
So, yeah.
Now, the other thing that to me is curiously absent from these overpriced packages is the soundtrack. Like, they've made a big stonking deal about having Chance Thomas come in and do the score for Mordor, which excellent choice. We've praised Chance many times on this podcast. If you're gonna charge a dollar amount like that, I feel like that should be a feature that should be included in probably the top 2 tiers at the very least.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
I think there's some changes as well with rights issues and stuff like that with the transfer of it, because it was not Standing Stone Games that sold the 10th anniversary soundtrack. It was Chance Thomas's company, Big Sound, I believe it is. So they were the ones that were selling on their store the copy of the 10th anniversary soundtrack.
And that doesn't help anyone who's dropping $130 on an expansion, on a premium expansion that doesn't come with a soundtrack.
Correct.
Like, this is... Anyway, I know. Tune into LOTRO Reporter for the full discussion on this. I think everybody will like it. But my short answer is I'm face palming at this. This is not cool.
Ridiculous.
Would you plant the Point of Scrooge flag, Bill?
Oh, it's planted. I've planted it so hard that the flag is touching the ground, which I'm pretty sure is a sin.
All right, let's move things along. We have a story via MMO RPG. I want to talk about patch 4.2 for Rift called Celestial Storm. The one thing that I wanted to read here was the author of this. This is Kelly Kiwi. And I wanted to find exactly what he was talking about here. When he's talking about how Rift is doing, because it faltered a little bit. We played it through up to, and for me, including the first expansion. I think you stopped before the first expansion. But I played all the expansions. I played through Rift, most of the content. And he says, Rift has gone through numerous changes, especially in the last year, leaving many unsure what direction this MMORPG is headed, but with 4.2 landing, it really feels like the game has finally settled and is now moving forward in a sure direction, which is fantastic. I have a very, very soft spot in my heart, because I really think Rift is a fantastic game that just had a few hurdles.
So does that mean we might see something coming back as in Rift Reporter?
I don't think we'll see Rift Reporter. There's a second half of that equation that would be required, and I don't think Selene has the time right now to devote to a podcast. It's a crazy amount of work making these things. So,
oh, I just had to ask. I always love listening to you guys.
Well, it was fun to make them. Well, if you are interested in Rift, 4.2 has a little bit of comedy added to it, a new jetpack mount, which is interesting. Also, Rift is no longer developing 20-man raids and is solely focusing on 10-man raids, including a new one called Tartaric Depths in Q4, and they've got an LFR as well there.
There a reason they're going from 20 to 10s?
My guess is metrics. Nobody's playing the 20s. It's too hard to get into the 20s, and so they're going with 10s, which was all that we did when we raided in Rift, right, Bill? We just did the 10-mans. We never did the 20s.
That's what I recall, yes.
Yeah, and we had fun with that.
Yep.
Okay, next quick mention. Bill, I want to know, how surprised are you that Blizzard is shutting down another server that is a private server? And
it's not shocking. I mean, they've done it before, and if the internet is proof of anything, that if you shut down one, two more are going to come back. So it's a tough thing because they can't stop sending their shutdowns, but at the same time, they got to know it's not going to do anything, or it's not going to make a big difference.
And I dug a little bit into the Reddit thread. If you want to go to, this story is via Massively, by the way. They've got a link to the Reddit thread in their story. I read a little bit into it, and according to some of the Reddit comments, apparently this private server provider was saying that they had a plan, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes, for when Blizzard came, and apparently that plan was to completely shut down. So,
that's a perfect plan.
Good plan. Yeah, unsurprising, will happen again. I'm sorry, folks, but if you're looking for a private WoW server, You're not going to get anything U.S. based. This was U.S. based, right? You're going to find the ones that are in sketchier parts of the world where Blizzard's cease and desist letters will have very little effect.
You still get private servers for Star Wars Galaxies, though.
Yeah, are they U.S. based though?
You know, I
That's
gotta look.
what it comes down. Yeah,
it's been a few years since I actually played on one.
You still have vanilla WoW, private WoW servers as well, but they're not U.S. based. All right, last but not least, a quick story here again via Massively from Eve Evolved. From Eve, this is a new event that they're having for a couple of weeks, I believe it is, where each day when you log in, you are going to get a challenge for you to complete. Something like killing 25 pirate NPCs or collecting 1 million ISK in NPC bounties. They refresh every hour, and you can grind up the points needed to get through the 2-week-long event. Have you looked into this a little bit, Brian? I know that you are an Eve fan. What are some of the rewards that you can get for playing this?
From what it shows down in thing, I played a little bit this week. You get, for like 95 points, you can buy, I think it's like 5 Plex or something like that. And then there are a couple other options, and then like going up to like 285, you can purchase some more Plex. Hold, let me log in, take a quick look here.
Oh no,
yeah, but it's pretty good so far. I mean, it's a few of the challenges are behind their Omega class paywall. So to even do them, you got to be a subscriber. So you'll have the skills to use those Tech 3 ships for a couple of them.
Right. Okay, so you do get some rewards out of it, and they look like they're worthwhile.
Yeah, the Plexes. I mean, you can always sell that on the market and stuff. So I'm still trying to get used to that since they changed the whole Plex system around when they went to the Alpha class and Omega class.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, if you are an EVE Online player and you're looking for a reason to jump back in, I think this is a very good reason indeed. So that is all of our stories for this week. Let's talk now real quick before we go about what we hope to play in the next week. And we go in reverse order from what we played this week, so I'll start. I am hoping to jump back into the Secret World Legends. I do definitely want to jump into LOTRO, because that's going to be exciting. World of Warcraft is my constant, and of course, there's a Guild Wars 2 story episode launching tomorrow, so I'm excited. By the launching of this podcast, it'll be today. So, yeah. Bill, what about you? What are you hoping to play next week?
Well, I'm looking at a bit of World of Warcraft, and of course, the Guild Wars 2 story, where I'm pumped for that. That's going to be a big deal as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, some Secret World, and I didn't put it in the list, but I'm hoping to do some Elite Dangerous. That my one thing that's stopping me on Elite is that I'm going to have to spend an hour getting used to my controls again, because it's been that long since I played. That's the one thing that puts me off of Elite, is that it's good that it's complicated, but it's also frustrating that it's complicated.
Yeah. Oh, I get you there. I've played it a few times on my Xbox One, and I can't ever remember how to get out of the FTL, whatever they use for that. It always drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Isn't it frame shift? I think it's frame shift or frame.
Yeah, frame shift. That's it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. What about you, Brian? What are you hoping to do next week?
Well, I am going to play some more EVE Online, try to do a few more of those challenges. And yeah, I actually looked it up. Yeah, 95 gets you 1 Plex. And then they go up from there, and 300 will unlock ship skins. So it's not too bad, but I mean, the challenges give you about 10 points for one, so one challenge. Not too bad.
Okay. So can they say they refresh every every
the challenges refresh every 24 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, once you finish all your challenges, you got to wait 24 hours for the new ones to pop up. So.
Okay. Cool. And what else are you going to be playing?
I am going to be playing Guild Wars 2. I went from 60 to about 72 in the last couple days. I'm hoping to get my main up to 80, so I can start the season 2. I used my boost and made a level 80. I just, I'm one of those completionists where I always gotta try to do everything to get it complete first.
Yeah.
So that's gonna take a while in Guild Wars 2. There's a lot to complete.
Yeah. I know. That's the one thing I hate about myself right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll probably play some Rust if my clanmates are on. So
fun.
Get into that. It all depends. Yeah, vacation ends in a couple days, so gotta go back to the grind.
Gotta get your gaming in while you can.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. All right, Bill. If people want to get a hold of us, how can they do that?
Well, they can visit the website over at MMOreporter.com. They can send us an email at mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit us on Facebook, facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at either of us, either at MMO_reporter for Chris, at MMO Bill for yours truly, and a voicemail message can be left at 616-666-6778. You can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can check us out on Patreon, just like Brian did over at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Or if you're not a Patreon kind of person, you can head over to MMOreporter.com/support. How about you, Brian? Are you looking to garner any feedback from your MMO Reporter debut?
Oh, not yet. Hopefully I can get on a couple more shows so I can get more comfortable doing this. I've always wanted to be on you guys' show. It's years ago. I was so close to winning the Second Life auction.
Yeah.
And I got
the Extra Life auction. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you want to share a Twitter or anything? If anyone wants to send you a message.
Yeah, it's Brent. Let me see here. Put her in at Guathel. I think that's it.
Perfect.
It's at Guathel, so.
And that's at GWATHEL. So if you want to say, good job, Brian, well done, send him a message there. I think you did a fantastic job, Brian, and it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thanks so much.
No, thank you for having me, Chris. I'm grateful that we were able to actually get me on finally.
And I guess thanks to you too, Bill. You were okay. You did all right.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
I miss having Harry, though. I gotta say that.
Yes, we all miss Harry.
Everybody does.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
well, you're always on the show, Bill. I mean, we can't ever miss you because you're always here.
Yeah.
Harry's too busy being star of stage and screen. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope that you enjoyed the show. Hope that you enjoyed having Brian on the show. Hope that you liked what you watched or heard. Hope that you come back next week for next week's show. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.